Hey everyone, I'm Orca Gaming, welcome back to my channel, and welcome to Monster Legends. So once again, we're going to be going over the top monsters in Monster Legends. So I am using all the information from Monster Legends competitive wiki. Huge shout out to them for compiling this information. So in the last video, if you haven't seen it, there's going to be a link in the description. They compiled all the information for PvP Season 78, and the top two monsters were Grackon and Wormlad. That's right, legendary monsters. Now we're going to see the data for PvP Season 79, and we're going to see how this changed. I had this theory that we were going to start seeing a lot more of the team race monsters because a lot of players were able to get them, especially the top 100 players, and a lot of the Golden Pass monsters. So I anticipate a lot of these other monsters being in the top from now on. And so it's going to be interesting to see how this changes, alright? Specifically with the top 100 players. So let us go to that. So we are now in PvP Season 79 usage data. So it's that time again, the end of the season, around 24 hours or under before it ends, to be exact. So it's time to tally up all the usage data to know. Oh, and one of the things I really like about this time compared to last time is that now, previously they only showed how many users had the monsters. Now they actually divided between attack and defense, so we can even see which monsters are more popular in offense versus defense. And so let's get right into it. There are 4 monsters categorized as the heavies. These are monsters that seen 50 or more players being used. So the first one we have is Nor, the extra turner team race monster. There are plenty of extra turner mythic monsters, but Nor was the one available from the team race. 8 times out of the times Nor was available, it was used in attack. 51 times it was a defense. So this was a go-to defense monster with a total of 59 users using Nor. Compare that to the previous 2 monsters that in Season 78 were popularly used, Grackon and Wormlad. However, I will say, take a look at this. For offense, 42 uses. Wormlad and Grackon are tied in terms of offense. Right, they have 42 users, 42 users. That's crazy. Grackon in defense is 8, and in defense is 7, and both is 1 and both is 2. So that is interesting. In total, 51 and 51. So right now, Nor is taking the top spot with a total of 59 players using Nor, but then we still have Grackon and Wormlad taking the lead in terms of legendary monsters, and not to mention in offense, there's still this huge overwhelming difference between monsters being used for offense and defense. So I would say that's because when you are attacking, when you are taking on a defense base, you can easily partner them up with a taunt monster and you are good to go. The enemy has no chance. Right, alright, let's see what's next. Next we have Undaina, who has attack 13, defense 37. So in total 50 uses. I mean, they're pretty much tied. I would say Wormlad, Grackon, and Undaina. Undaina, I will say, has more defenses, but a good amount of offenses. And Undaina, if you've ever played against this monster, this is the monster that can run a Punch Seed Staff, can run a Charizard Amulet, and completely drain your stamina, as well as being able to remove positive effects from your whole entire team, as well as being able to do a lot of Stamina Leak, apply Drowned. Fantastic monster, Golden Legends Pass monster, and of course our elite legendary monsters and our team race monsters. So these are the heavies. These are the monsters that are used 50 or more times. And again, we can see, even though Nor is used the most right now, it's really more for defense, because for offense, I'm sorry, Wormlad and Grackon, they still take the cake. With that being said, let's go to the next category, the toughies. So we have Miseris, also used primarily for defense, 31 times in defense. And again, this is a previous team race monster. A total of 37 players are using this monster. We have Urder, 25 on attack, 11 on defense. Again, you combine that Urder with that Grackon and Wormlad, you can take on pretty much any base with your ability to remove positive effects, apply dots, revive, and then your ability to just completely trait disable and cooldown activate and stun, and even apply dots and remove positive effects, negative effects. Like, an incredible team right here. But yeah, Urder, and my opinion, the reason Urder takes the #1 spot of the taunt monsters is because, one, this was the very first taunt monster that was available. Yes, Armor Claw and Urder both became available in the same month, but Armor Claw was the Legends Pass monster, so you would have to wait until the end of the month to essentially get Armor Claw, so it was hard to rank up Armor Claw, whereas with Urder, this was the Maze monster, so if you wanted to spend money, you could have spent money, gotten Maze coins, easily rank up Urder, and not to mention, Urder, in terms of just tanking capabilities compared to Armor Claw, Urder just takes it. Urder is a far superior tank. If we're just looking at tank monsters, Armor Claw, I can argue, is more of an attacker, even though he can tank. But yeah, Urder in terms of a tank definitely takes it, so there we go. And of course, we got our new edition data list. I guarantee you by the end of season, what are we in? We're in season 80 now. By the end of season 80, data list is going to probably be up here, he's going to be in the heavy category, getting way over 50 uses. I mean, already he's 33 on defense, 2 for attack, total of 35. I can see this monster being used both in attack and on defense, but mostly on defense just because he absorbs the attack. I mean, if you just look at this team right now, let's just say you run into a Daedalus, you run into a Miseris, and you run into a Nor. You have a Megaton monster that can absorb attacks, you have Miseris to resurrect, and then you have Nor to do extra turns and attack. Fantastic right there. So yeah, I definitely see Daedalus being more and more, being used more and more. Brutalizer, here we go. Here we have a taunt monster, 19 in attack, 9 on defense, and again, even Brutalizer is a monster you can partner up with your legendaries over here, because you have the taunt trait, so you can absorb single attacks. And I mean, this guy's a brute. He was the exclusive Golden Legends Pass monster, like extra, that you had to purchase. So I definitely see more uses for him potentially. Moonhaze, 12 in attack, 9 defense, 21 in total. Interesting. This is a community monster for June. Froma, 12 attack, 9 defense, 21 total. So I feel like the more and more as the game progresses, Froma's going to get less usage. On Dana's pretty much going to steal Froma's thunder. And then Moonhaze, I'm actually a little surprised about Moonhaze. Yes, he has really good skills, but I feel like his usage is actually going to go down. Yeah, and then Brutalizer, it really depends on what stronger attackers get released. But he can go either way. I do see him going up before he goes down. Alright, going to the mids. Alright, these were monsters that saw 10 to 9 players using them. So we have Centurion, of course, our Forsaken Megaton monster. He's so easy to use. I have him at rank 1. He's actually on my defense. I have him at rank 1, he's just there to absorb attacks. You Megaton, that way your allies can attack. Notice he's mostly used on defense. And certain monsters, you see when they're defense versus offense. Going back to Daedalus, defense because of the Megaton mechanic. So yeah, in total 17 uses. Unfortunately, he's a Forsaken monster, so there's no way to get him. So unlike Wormlad and Grakon, I doubt Centurion's usage is going to increase, because what's going to happen is, for those players in the top 100 that have Daedalus, Centurion's probably going to get replaced by that Daedalus, let's be honest. Moving on to our other dodge area monster, Hornet. I do believe he had a lot more usage in the last season. Here, let's go back to that season, let's scroll down, and let's see. Hornet had a total of 21 uses last time, or users. Now he's down to 15. So 6 less players are using Hornet, and as sad as this to say, I imagine his usability is going to go down and down, just because Grakon and Wormlad, in terms of dodge area monsters, they're far superior to Hornet. And as more and more mythic monsters get released, Hornet's usage is just inevitably going to fall. And then moving on to Cyberout, an attacker mythic monster, one of the OG mythic monsters, right? This was the first race monster. Only 14 people are using this monster, and I think the reason this is rather low, because Cyberout is a really good monster, is because Nor is taking it, right? Nor, well, actually not on attack. On attack, I guess the majority of players are still relying on their legendaries, but I imagine once players stop using Nor on defense, and maybe when Krusty gets released, if players are able to rank him up, it's going to be Nor or Krusty being used for offense, and then the other one for defense. So I imagine Cyberout's usage is going to go down and down. Nightingale's another extra churner, and again, like, extra churner monsters are just go-to monsters right now, both for defense and offense. So here we have 9 on defense. Ra is another extra churner mythic monster, so as you can see, the extra churners for defense are really dominating. And I guess that would be because even if the enemy has an anticipation monster on offense, they really can't do much, right? If it's a Grakon, I mean, if Grakon can survive, then, for example, if it's a Ragnarök, yeah, Grakon has a great skill set, but, you know, one attack, if he's not running a life rune, one attack from Mythic Monster and he gets OTK'd. Hornets, same thing, if he gets single targeted, he's pretty much OTK'd. So I can see why these monsters have a lot of usage, and in terms of the Mythic Monster with that has anticipation, Miseris, I'm sorry, he can't really do much. And even if we look at the newer monsters that got released, Blazinger, well, they're not really in this data yet, so we'll see how they are in season 80, but I don't really see Blazinger being used much. Moving on, we have Blaz. This was if I'm not mistaken, this was the second monster that you could purchase with money. And I mean, although he's a great support monster, yeah, I don't think lots of players really got him fully ranked or anything, so his usage is limited. RML is a fantastic attacker. I just released a video on RML, but again, I think, unfortunately, the dominant monsters are really just the extra turners, right? Nightingale, Nor, Ra, soon Krusty, we're going to be seeing in the list for sure at the end of Season 80. We might not see mid-Season 80 results for Krusty, but for sure by the end of it, we're going to be seeing it. Nick Kasha, attack 8, defense 2, very interesting. This monster right here is the dodge area monster that blocks resurrection, so I can definitely see her being used in terms of offense. to block the enemy Misirus from resurrection, especially when Misirus, again, in terms of defense, is used 31% of the times, or used by 31 players, sorry. I mean, no, this is the top 100, 31 uses is 31%. Anyhow, scrolling down to the hidden gems. 9 people are still using Warmaster Thalassa only exclusively for offense, no longer is Thalassa on defense. And the reason for this is, again, when you attack, you can dominate the battle. You can, I mean, if the enemy doesn't have on Dana, you can bring Thalassa, Elvira, and you're good to go. Your Thalassa gets to deny everyone, then your attacker can attack whoever it may be. So yeah, 9 players are still using Warmaster Thalassa for offense in the top 100. We have Unspeakable, the other taunt monster. Again, when it comes to Unspeakable or Urder is the go-to, but 5 players are using this for offense, 4 for defense. We have Corruptus, the Forsaken monster. Incredible monster. If you've ever played against the Forsaken, he's incredible. He's incredible for sure. We have Armor Claw with 8 uses. That's right, my favorite number. No one is using him for defense. It's all offense primarily. So 8 players are using Armor Claw. We have Siamis. This is the recent Team Race monster. Siamis, 1 on attack, 6 on defense. I actually see this monster being used more in attack by the end of Season 80. And that's just because cooldown activation is becoming a lot more powerful. Especially, again, when we look at the top monsters, like cooldown activation shuts down Nor for at least 1 turn. Unless you're running 0 cooldown skill, then again, you stop the extra turns. Since these monsters are used primarily for offense, you don't got to worry about dodge area not getting hit with cooldown activation. Cooldown activation stops on Dana, stops Misirus, stops Urder, stops Daedalus. Although Daedalus is a good counter because of the Megataunt, right? Sorry, the Megataunt. And Brutalizer gets stopped. A lot of monsters get stumped right now. So if the enemy's using triple monsters, triple mythic monsters, and it's not Daedalus, cooldown activation is going to be stopping them. So my prediction is that Siamis's usage is definitely going to increase. We have Glob, another Megataunt monster. Although the reason this monster is used more for offense and not so much defense is because this monster doesn't have Taunt or Megataunt at the start of the battle. His skill set requires him to use the skills, Taunt or Megataunt. So I can definitely see him being used more for offense. So I don't know how much his usage will increase. Maybe we'll see 10 players using them. I mean, looking at the other monsters, right? Blaz, he's used a lot. Brutalizer used a lot. But see, Brutalizer has Taunt, so that's what he has going for him. So it's going to be interesting to see if his usage increases much. I really don't see it happening. I'm sorry, Glob. I love using the monster, but I don't see it. Siamis again for sure. We have Warmaster Ragnarök still being used for an attack, 3 on defense. Very nice. I mean, yeah, very, very nice. Go Ragnarök. That random status caster can help. His skill set is just really, really amazing. And considering the extra turners are being used, you know, in terms of offense, you can definitely stop them from doing their extra turn skills. Sometimes the AI is so afraid. Madam Fusion, 6 for attack. Again, this is not a monster you put on defense. This is a monster that you use to trait disable, remove positive effects, and you can dominate the battle as long as you get a guaranteed turn-in. And thanks to her trait, she pretty much gets a guaranteed turn-in. Alright, we also have Tiny, 4 uses on defense. Interesting. I don't really see Tiny doing that much on defense. At the very least, remove positive effects, so maybe to stop those evasion bases at the start of the battle. I don't know. Ilian, same thing. I don't see it used that much. And of course, Warmaster Elvira still being used on offense for that evasion at the start of the battle. Lord Pumpseed also still being used. Again, I can imagine like the same people that are using Thalassa are probably partnering up with Elvira, Lord Pumpseed, maybe Santerion to block effects or to Megataunt and get a guaranteed turn-in. So I can see that. Naziel still being used, most likely because you can hold the Revival Relic plus Revive. Abysmus was the other pay monster, and he's not getting that much usage. 2 on attack, 1 on defense, and I will say he actually is a pretty good defensive monster, I would say. He can AoE freeze, he has a strong life stat, he is immune to torture, so you can't just apply tortures to him, so I'm actually surprised he's not a lot more. But I guess, again, the game prioritizes right now Taunt, Megataunt, those kind of skills, and the extra turners. We have Isla with 3 defenses, again, Megataunt. Mr. Beast with 3 defenses. I wonder if Mr. Beast is going to get more usage. Part of me says he'll probably get more attack, again, because his skill set is Megataunt, so he doesn't have a trait of Taunt or Megataunt. His skills are Taunt, Megataunt, so you have more control when you're using him for offense. So I feel like we'll see him more for offense than defense. And then Svart, I actually don't even know too much about this monster. We have Dialab over here, Morgs, used for offense. Metal Beat, these are just random monsters, right, being used, I guess because there's nothing better to use. We have Wildbird, so I imagine the person using Elvira is also using Wildbird and just doing that combo with them. We have our newest monster. I definitely see this monster being used a lot more in defense and offense. So it's going to be interesting to see where he is at the end of Season 80. I feel like he might jump up to, because at the end of the day, he's also a maze monster, so how many players were actually able to rank him up? For sure, he's going to be in the mids. He might even go into the toughies, since once again, this is top 100 players, so maybe those players did invest in him and are going to get him at least to rank 3, maybe 4, even 5, so it's going to be interesting to see where Lonrad is at the end of all this. Gardevoir is unfortunately down to 1 player using him on defense, and now that Sai misses out, Gardevoir is going to Gardevoir's going to disappear. We're not going to see Gardevoir being used by top players anymore. Cawthor, I'm surprised. Cawthor, he's a fantastic attacker, but again, the extra turners dominate, so Cawthor's a monster we might not see. And again, it's like Cawthor Brutalizer in terms of attackers, I would take Cawthor easily, but when you look at traits, I'm sorry Cawthor, I love your trait and all, but I'd rather have Taunt and just partner up with Dodge Area and just to protect my other monsters. It's a lot more useful. Josh Stubb and Zorky, we're not going to see this monster at the end of Season 80. So with that being said, guys, these are the top monsters used by the top 100 players in PvP. This is PvP Season 79 usage data. So, like I did last time, I am going to try to climb the trophies, and we're going to see how many of these monsters I actually bump into. We're going to try to get into the top 100, no promises. Whenever there's a race going on, or I just don't feel like doing PvP, I just switch to an easy defense, and then suddenly I drop into Legendary 4 League and everything, so... But I'm going to try this time. I always say that, but I'm going to try. So once again, a huge shout out to Monster Legend Competitive Wiki, everyone that puts in all the effort to get this information. It is super awesome and super useful to see what the top 100 players are using in their offense and defense. And now we have an idea that these monsters right here, Grakon, Wurmland, still dominating offense, but now we're seeing Ondana and Nor really dominating defense. I want to hear what you guys think. Who do you think is going to be the next monster to enter the heavy category? And in general, who's going to enter the toughies? Like, any and all thoughts, I really want to hear from you guys. And again, huge shout out to the Monster Legend Competitive Wiki for all of this incredible information. With that being said, guys, I'm Armor Gaming. Thank you all for watching, and remember to subscribe.